Good afternoon, everybody. Today's word was ship. I did something a little different today. Basically, when I read the word, I had a bit of an epic idea for it. And I've been trying to focus on doing much smaller pieces anyway, just to keep within my 30-minute time limit I set myself. But this one I just liked too much, so I knew I was going to spend a little bit longer on it. And I knew I was going to make this into a much larger piece at some point. But I didn't want to take away the practice I could get today, so I decided to do something that I usually just do in my sketchbook for today's drawing, which is I normally draw a smaller thumbnail idea of what I'm going to do on a much larger scale beforehand. And I might dab on different colours, I might just try out a few different ideas on a much smaller scale before doing it. I like to have a feeling of preparation before I do a much larger piece. A little just because I dislike wasting paper. So I like to know what I'm going to do a little bit before I put the pen to the paper, if you know what I mean. And it makes me feel a lot more sure of what I'm doing and gives me a little bit more confidence, which I think always ends up with a better drawing in the end. So this piece is kind of like a little bit more of a test and experiment than maybe a lot of the other days have been, where they've kind of been a completed little drawing of their own. But it was a lot of fun to try out, and it gets me really infused for something I can do that first week or so after Inktober. You know, I'm kind of focusing on getting to the end of this, and I don't want this enthusiasm and speed of work that I've kind of cultivated over this month, and I'm sure most people must have felt as well, to just dissipate and not exist the second the month's over. I don't want this to be like my most productive bit of time. I don't mind spending longer on a piece of work, but I want to still be producing a lot of work. So yeah, it was nice to have this idea and concept because it gives me a clear thing I can aim towards at the end and look forward to. So the main idea really was of an industrial port, kind of like a piratey port, and to have it populated by seals and walruses as the pirates and the fancy women and the merchants and the sailors, and just every character would be a seal or a walrus, and I thought it would be quite funny to do the look and have as little characters. So that was the main idea, and I knew I wanted kind of a little bit of close-up character work, but also a setting, like background piece to it. I wanted it to be quite a rich image. And the other thing I kind of knew is I wanted to set it at night, and knew I wanted it lit by a candle light, but also a sunset. And I knew I didn't want to do just a pure yellow colour, I wanted to do something a little different, so I decided to try and restrict myself to this dark blue and black of the night contrasted against kind of a yellowy pink kind of colour that you could have in the sunset and the candles. So that was my rough idea of colour, but like I say, it was more blocking in where is light coming from, where is the darkness and the shadow, and trying to get an idea of it rather than painting everything perfectly. And just as I was talking about sketchbooks, and the fact I would usually do this type of work in a sketchbook, I was kind of thinking about what would you say is the point of a sketchbook? Now, I've always loved keeping them. I probably keep more sketchbooks than I do any other piece of art. I'm very thorough with them, you know, as I mentioned, don't like wasting paper, so sketchbooks are a perfect tool for me. I also, thinking about it to myself, I think that my sketchbooks are kind of a mixture of testing out big ideas before I put pen to paper. They're kind of like casual doodles, like just for me to relax and just draw just a random thing that I want to draw. And they're also a lot of practice. Like I will look up, there's certain websites that I could link below if you're interested, that have like multiple shots of figures and of bodies and faces. That's kind of what I've been drawing a lot recently. As I say, I want to try and build up that practice, so I've been trying to do these 2-minute like shots. They basically put an image up for 2 minutes, and you can just sit there, draw it, that's it, get to the next one. It's like, you know, if you can't get to a live drawing class, I think it's the best you can do. So I've been using it mostly for that. I'd say practice, sketching, and planning out bigger ideas. That's what I use sketchbooks for. Every once in a while it might be to observe something that I've seen, so if I do have it out and about, I do like to do quick sketches if I can, but I used to do that a lot more in university and college, but I've kind of gotten out of the habit of doing that, and I think it's because it's more of a thing you do when you're on your own, or I've often found it to be something I do on my own because most of the people I know just aren't really interested in art, so it's more of like a like a private venture. Back in uni especially, I had friends who did art, so I had someone to hang out with when I did it. And doing it on my own, I don't know. I don't really mind the idea, but I don't live in the nicest place. I don't like the idea of standing around these certain areas, and to be honest, only when I leave the nearby area where I live do I actually get inspired to draw something. A lot of the things that are around my area just, it's funny, I was really into drawing them back when I was about 17, 18, but I think I was through a bit of a I am so deep kind of phase where, you know, I was like, oh, that rubbish bin, oh my god, well, you know, there's so much about the areas, there's so much about this place. I think I was just in that type of mindset where everything's so deep. So I think now it's just like, oh, like, don't let it depress you. all I'm trying to get to, I think, in a really long-winded way, is what do you use your sketchbook for, and do you keep one? And has it changed over time how you've used sketchbooks? Because I've thought before on this channel of possibly doing old sketchbook tours. I'm sure I've got a few random ones from high school and college, and I do have the work I did through uni and little bits of sketchbooks since, but I don't know. I've had a lot of sketchbooks stolen. Not stolen as if I didn't know where they were going, but I've had my teachers in both uni and college and high school all wanted to nick my sketchbooks to show people, you know, after I left. Look at me, I'm like bragging, humble brag. But I never really feel very emotionally attached to sketchbooks once they're finished. I don't really feel that way with much art, to be honest. I'm quite happy to give it away once it's done. I don't have like a massive emotional attachment, so I've never really minded. So I lost a lot of sketchbooks that way. I'm not really sure how much I've got left. I'm sure I have a few random ones in the attic at my parents' house, but I'm not sure. So I don't know what I'm trying to promise here. But if you are interested in something like that, just leave a comment. Anyway, I hope that wasn't too long-winded. I know this is going to be a longer video than usual because I kind of took a little bit of the freedom of knowing this would be a future piece to lend myself a little bit longer today, and I just wanted to enjoy it, revel in it a little bit, because, you know, we're in the last 7 days, I think, of Inktober, so, you know, this is kind of the final stretch, and, you know, I thought it'd be fun to just try something a little bit more different in today's piece, and I hope you all enjoyed it, and I also hope you're all doing well in your Inktober's. See you again tomorrow.